Okay, so today you're going to learn how to fix the dreaded install a driver to show hard drive error that you get while trying to install Windows 11. Here is what it looks like, and this basically means that the Windows setup cannot detect your hard drive, which could be due to a bunch of reasons. But most likely it's either you're missing SATA or NVMe drivers, or you are using a USB 3.0 port without having the native drivers loaded for it, or your BIOS settings are just incompatible. But don't worry, because we have 4 methods that are guaranteed to fix this issue, and the best thing is it's gonna be fast and easy. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so let's start with the very first method, and that is simply switching USB ports. Now, most of the time, this is due to people using a USB 3.0 port to install Windows 11, which by the way uses older drivers than USB 2.0. So a lot of times there is no native support for USB 3.0 on the older ISOs. So, simply changing from USB 3.0 to USB 2.0 should fix the problem, and that's pretty much it. Here you can see I am unplugging the USB drive from the USB 3.0 port and then plugging it back in. I'm just going to use a USB 2.0 port over here, which is this one, and boom, all good. There you go, we have our hard drive showing up now. Okay, so that was the first method. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so moving on to the second method. Now the second method is checking your BIOS settings. Alright, so to do that, all you need to do is enter your BIOS, and now to enter your BIOS, normally you will have to press Dell or F2 key during the boot. So here you can see I am gonna start the PC, and then as soon as it starts booting up, I am gonna press F2, which is the function key, to go inside the BIOS. So depending on your computer, it might be a little bit different. It could be F12 or it could be a Dell key. You're gonna have to search online for your particular motherboard or computer and check what key is required to get into the BIOS. Alright, so once you're inside the BIOS, you want to look for something called SATA mode. So this is what it looks like. Here you can see it says SATA mode, and you want to change it to AHCI. If it's set to anything else such as RAID or some other modes, etc. Now you also want to make sure that the UEFI mode is enabled. So if it's disabled, you're gonna want to enable it, and you're gonna have to restart the PC and re-enter the BIOS and enable it again. Sometimes it requires you to restart before you can enable the feature. So after you do this, you can save and exit the BIOS, and hopefully this will have fixed your issue. Okay, so let's move on to the next method. Alright, so moving on to the third method, and this is where things get a little bit more serious. So basically at this point, what we gonna do is we gonna have to manually load the driver. Okay, so first thing you're gonna have to do is go to your PC or laptop manufacturer's website. For example, I'm gonna go to HP.com because this is an HP laptop. Alright, so once you're there, you're gonna have to search for your particular model, and you want to go under support. So for my particular laptop, it is an HP Victus. By the way, this is an awesome gaming laptop. So once you go under support, you want to search for your particular model. So I'm gonna type in Victus, and there you go. Okay, so now I'm gonna select this one right here, Victus 16, and I'm gonna go to Software and Drivers. Alright, so here you can see it says Software and Drivers, and then click on it. And then here you can see it says Category, and I am gonna select Storage Drivers, and you want to download something called Intel Rapid Storage Technology, or NVMe driver. Okay, so it's gonna be slightly different for different people. For example, if you have an AMD processor, you're gonna have to look for AMD drivers. If you have an NVIDIA processor, you're gonna have to look for NVIDIA drivers. It's gonna be slightly different. Now, for me, I have an Intel processor, so I am gonna go ahead and download this one, which is the Intel Rapid Storage Technology driver. Now, once you've downloaded it, you want to extract it to a second USB drive. Okay, so basically you're gonna have to use a second USB drive to extract it. Now, once you have extracted it to a second USB drive, you're gonna have to plug it into your PC. Okay, so once you plug it into your PC, you're gonna have to restart, and as soon as you see the Windows setup screen, you're gonna have to click on this button right here. It says Load Driver. You're gonna have to click on Browse. Okay, and then you're gonna have to select the folder where you extracted the files to and then click on OK, and then you should see it start detecting your hard drive. So let's wait for that to happen, and there you go. Okay, so you can see it has now detected the hard drive. So now we can go ahead and click on Next and continue with the installation. So there you go, that is the third method. Alright, so now moving on to the fourth method. Now this method is only for those who are using Rufus to create the bootable USB. So if you did not use Rufus, skip to the next part. Now, if you used Rufus to create the bootable USB, you're gonna have to recreate the bootable USB because most likely something went wrong. Okay, so here is what you want to do. You're gonna have to go to the official website and then download the media creation tool. Once you do that, you're gonna have to open it and then select Create Installation Media and then select your language and then click on Confirm. Then you're gonna have to select which version of Windows you want to install. In this case, I'm gonna select Windows 11 and then click on Confirm. And then here you can see it says which edition, and I am gonna select Windows 11 Pro and then click on Confirm. So now it's gonna download the media creation tool. Now once it finishes downloading, you're gonna have to click on Setup and then click on Yes, and then wait for it to finish the setup process. So let's wait for that to happen. Okay, so once it finishes the setup process, you're gonna have to launch it and then select Create Installation Media and then select your language and then click on Next. Then you're gonna have to select which version of Windows you want to install. I'm gonna select Windows 11 and then click on Next. Then it's gonna ask you whether you want to use an ISO file or a USB flash drive. Now, since we are creating a bootable USB, you're gonna have to select a USB flash drive. Now make sure you select the correct partition scheme and file system. Now, most of the time, the partition scheme should be GPT if you're reusing UEFI mode, which you should be, and the file system should be NTFS. However, if you're using an ISO that is larger than 4 gigabytes, you're gonna have to use FAT3 to file system. Alright, so once you select the file system, you're gonna have to click on Next, and then it's gonna start downloading the Windows 11 ISO to your USB flash drive. Now, depending on your internet speed, this can take anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so once it finishes downloading, you're gonna have to click on Finish, and now you can use this USB flash drive to install Windows 11. So let us wait for the download to finish. Okay, so as you can see, the download has now finished. Now let's go ahead and click on Finish. Alright, so here you can see we have successfully created a bootable USB, and now we can use this to install Windows 11. So let us go ahead and click on Close. Okay, so that's it. One of these methods should have fixed your problem. If it did work for you, please hit that like button. It really helps out. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, this is your host. I'll see you in the next one.